Going on, guys? We're going to, it's just about time, and what I'm going to do is I've got a stack of direct mail sitting right here, right now, that I want to share with you guys a lot of secrets. A lot of secrets on how we actually get deals out of this, right? How do we go out there and pull deals out of this many letters, right? So while you guys are piling onto the lines, why don't you go into the feed right now and tell me where you are from. Barb, I see you there, and I see people are starting to pile on right now. So that's awesome. So here's what I want you guys to do. Number one, tell me exactly where you're from. John Chafe, what's up? And the second thing that I want you to do is I definitely want you to go through and like this video whenever I deliver the goods. So here it is. So, you know, inside of a real estate investor's business, one of the best leads that you can do is direct mail. You know, by far, period. I mean, we have tried it all. You know, we have went out there and, you know, been an investor, and what we'll do is we'll drive, you know, stuff to websites and try to get sellers to call us or whatnot. Nothing has seemed to ever really work from a direct response marketing like direct mail has. And we have got this system so nailed. We've got this thing so nailed with how we actually pull deals out of this. Now, most investors, they can't do deals out of this, right? They have to send out thousands of pieces of direct mail. But what's inside these things? What's inside of these? Why are these certain colors? What sizes are these things, you know, to go out there and make sure that we are really getting deals out of this? Who are we sending these things to even? So if you're just now joining me, guys, my name is John Cochran, and you might be brand new to this channel, but I think that we're getting ready to be best friends because I'm getting ready to dive into the direct mail secret. So the first thing is these letters. Who do they actually go out to? And why can we go out and send 30 pieces of direct mail to motivated sellers, right? And how do most people go out there and spend, you know, thousands and tens of thousands of dollars on direct mail, and they never even do a deal? And how do they go out there and spend, you know, do 30,000 of these direct mail pieces, but what do we do to only send out 30 of these things and do deals? And really it comes down to the who we actually target. Like, what names are on these things, right? Because that's so important. So there's so many different ways that you can find specific deals, right? So you can buy a list of, you know, people that are delinquent on their property tax. You can buy a list of people that you know, are in pre-foreclosure. You can buy a list of people that are vacant or whatnot. And see, that is the challenge. That is where all investors going wrong, is because they're mailing people that just have one level of motivation. And see, what's happening is investors are getting frustrated because they have to send out 30,000 of these things, you know, in order to do deals. And really what it comes down to is whenever they do get calls in, what's happening is, you know, the sellers are wanting retail, they're demanding retail, they're not very motivated, they're like, but they got a vacant property they got to sell. And that's not the key. So right here, guys, is all people that have at least 2 levels of motivation, meaning that in this specific list, what we did was we took 4 different lists, okay? 4 lists that we bought in lists that we actually gathered on our own. And we took 4 lists. We took a vacant list, we took a pre-foreclosure list, we took a tax delinquent list, people that are delinquent on their property tax, and then we took an absentee owner list. You know, a list of people that are, you know, that they own a piece of real estate, but they don't actually live in that piece of real estate, okay? So we took those 4 different lists, and we used our software, the Combo Seller Generator, to go and take those 4 lists and stack them on top of each other, and then found out who had multiple levels of motivation to sell. Like, who had a property that was delinquent on their property tax and their property was vacant, right? That's 2 levels of motivation. So that would pass the sniff test of us to go out there and send to them. Or they got a vacant property and they're an absentee owner, or they're tax delinquent and an absentee. So that's exactly what we mean by stacking lists on top of each other. And so many investors, where they go wrong is they only send direct mail to people that have one level of motivation. And the challenge is that they keep hearing, right? They keep hearing sellers say, I want retail. Give me retail for these things. Not us. Not us. See, that's how we can beat the pants off of any other real estate investor, because we're only marketing to people that have two levels of motivation, at least two levels of motivation in our direct mail pieces. Okay, in our direct mail pieces. So it's huge. It's absolutely huge to go out there and do that. So that's what we did right here. Okay, so that's what we did right here. Does that make sense? Does that make sense of what investors are doing? Is they're mailing somebody that has one level of motivation, and the difference, right? The difference is somebody that has two levels of motivation or three levels of motivation. Comment in right now, make sure that's making sense, because I'm not going to go forward, with any of this other stuff until we know that we're making sense right here. So comment in right here below, okay? Now, this is really, really key, because now that we have a spreadsheet, right? Now that we have a spreadsheet and we know how many levels of motivation each one of our motivated sellers has, there's different things that we do with these lists, okay? So once you know who has one level of motivation, once you know who has 2 levels, 3 levels, 4 levels, 5 levels of motivation, once you know who they actually are, you've got to do different things with the people that have different levels of those motivations, right? You got to do different things with them. So, for example, somebody that has one level of motivation, they're probably not motivated, so why would you want to go out to their house and knock on their door? You probably wouldn't want to. Somebody that has 2 levels of motivation, what would you want to do with them? Because I'll tell you, people that have 2 levels of motivation, what we do is we send direct mail to them. We send direct mail to those people. Now, people that have 3 levels of motivation, what do you think we do with them? Do you think that we send direct mail to them? Now, these might be people that are, going through a divorce right now, and their property is vacant, and they're also delinquent on their property tax. So people that have 3 levels of motivation, what do you think we do with them? Do we send them direct mail, or do we do something else? Comment in. Comment in. What are we doing with these guys? Cool? Because that's huge. It's absolutely huge. You go out to the house. It's okay for you, when they've got 3 levels of motivation, for you to go out to the house and for you to actually put something on their door saying that you want to buy their house. It's absolutely okay to do that. So again, just to break this down, you've got multiple lists, right? You've got, a combo, you've got a vacant list, you've got an absentee owner list, you've got a tax delinquent list, and you've got a pre-foreclosure list. You've got four levels of motivation right there. You run them through a software, our software called the Combo Seller Generator, and then it will spit out all the people that have multiple levels of motivation. Right? It'll tell you their motivation level right there and it'll rank them, who you need to contact and who you don't, basically. Now, the people that have over 3 levels of motivation, this is important. The people that have over 3 levels of motivation, what we'll do is we will put a note on their door. I mean, it can just be a sticky. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just put a note on their door, go out to their house, and put a note on their door, and just write them a simple note saying something along the lines like, my name is John, I drove by your house, I want to buy it, call me. You don't have to get too into detail on this stuff. It's just very, very simple. You just put a note onto their door. If you can even write them a letter, stick it into their door, something like that. You've got to get to their door. You've got to get to their door, tape it on their door, whatever. You got to get their attention. So those are people that have 3 levels of motivation or more, what we do with those guys. Now, people that have 2 levels of motivation, what we'll do is we'll send them direct mail. Okay? Now, what's inside of these letters pulls extremely well. So we send these to motivated sellers that have 2 levels of motivation, and they call. And they call a lot. So here's what I suggest that you do. So once you go out there and you've got a list and you know your levels of motivation, the 3 levels of motivation, what you're going to do is you're going to go and put a note onto their door. The 2 levels of motivation, you're going to send direct mail pieces to, and it's not going to be a ton of direct mail, but it's going to be very targeted direct mail that you're sending out to, okay? Now, I don't suggest you to start sending mail out to the people that have 1 level of motivation. Now, why is that? Why is it smart to not send mail out to the people that have 1 level of motivation? Guys, you're going to be getting calls from people of, from these letters. You're going to be getting calls from these. You're also going to be getting calls from the people that you left notes onto their door, so you're going to be getting calls from them as well. So it makes a whole heck of a lot of sense. So instead of you going out there and getting overwhelmed and you go and giving, bad service to these sellers, because these are great leads, we don't mail the level 1 motivations. We don't mail them until we go and do everything that we can with our 3 levels or more of motivation, right? We talk to as many as we possibly can, as many respond to us. We send out our direct mail pieces to the people that have 2 levels of motivation. We take all of those phone calls. We do all of our follow-up with that. And when we're done with the 3+ levels, and when we're done with the 2 levels of motivation, then at that point, you can go back and then send direct mail pieces to people that have 1 level of motivation. See, this is the way that you're not going to hear from sellers that are just demanding retail or whatnot, that aren't motivated, is go after the big fish first. Go after the big fish first, and then after that, what you want to do is you want to start going after the people that have lesser levels of motivation. Okay, so that's what we do. Okay, so that right there is what we do. In order to find out who we're going to be mailing to. Okay, so 1 second here, guys. Okay, so that's what we do. That's what we do to these guys. Now, what is in these magic letters? What is in these things that get these things to pull so well, right? So the first thing that I want to cover is I just want to cover the look, right? I just want to cover the look of these things. Now, when we send direct mail out, we will get over a 12% response, okay, just sending out 1 letter. When we go through a full campaign of this stuff, and a campaign meaning that, we'll send this piece of direct mail out, and if they don't respond to us, guess what? We're mailing them again. We're sending them a different message in there. That's a campaign. So on the very first touch, we'll get about a 12% response rate, okay, on these letters. Now, I really strongly believe why we get so much of a response rate is, number 1 is because they're extremely targeted, right? The second thing is because of the way that these letters look. So there's 30 letters right here, okay? Now, the whole point of this is you just got to get this stuff out, right? So these are 4x6 cards, right? So these are 4x6 invitation style, letters right here. And they're all different sorts of colors, right? They're all different sorts of colors, and you can see that. Guys, I've tested this inside and out. It does not matter, right? It does not matter what color you actually mail. It does not matter. Okay, so the green is going to pull fine. The pink, it's going to pull fine. The red, it's going to pull. It doesn't matter. It does not matter what these are. I would suggest that you do not do white, okay? You got to stick out inside of these mailbox. So I would really honestly suggest that you do not start mailing out white ones of these, because you might get lost. But it's the whole process of, you going out there and, sending out direct mail, and when the seller gets this into their mailbox, that they feel like it was a birthday card from grandma. Something like that, okay? So color doesn't matter. You can buy these on Amazon all day long. You could go to Office Depot all day long. But again, they're 4-inch, right? So 4-inch by 6-inch right here, okay? So, and we do the funky looking colors. You can see that we've got yellow, we've got like a teal blue, we've got pink, we've got purple, we've got 2 different shades of green right here. We've got blue, we've got, orange. We've got orange. So there's all different types of color right here. So that's what they look like on the outside. You can see that it's just a regular forever stamp Okay, so it's just a forever stamp on there, nothing crazy. Okay, but the reason that these pull so well is, number one, is that they're colorful. Number two, it's a forever stamp. Number three is the outside of this is really addressed by a human. This is nothing that's printed up or anything else like that. So if you notice, this is a nice printed font. Okay, so it's a nice printed font right here, it's really handwritten. Okay, so it doesn't really matter. You can send out cards that are sloppy handwriting or whatnot. It doesn't matter. The key with it is getting people to recognize that you took the time and it's real ink onto these things. So many investors, they try to speed this process up and they try to do all this crazy stuff and automate. Guys, you don't want to automate this. And see, that's exactly why when you're mailing people that have 2 levels of motivation, it makes a whole heck of a lot of sense. Now that you've only got 30 of these, but you're mailing to the right people, take the time. Take the time and send out the mail and hand write this mail out, or have somebody write this out, because it will make a difference. It will make a difference, okay? So we know what these things look like. We know what the stamp looks like. We know the outside of this thing is handwritten font. You can even put, on the back of these things, you can even put, a self-addressed label right here, and that's fine to do as well. It doesn't matter, but it needs to look very, very similar to that, okay? Now, when you open, who wants to know what's inside this thing, right? Who wants to know what's inside this thing? Did this Facebook Live just end? Did this Facebook Live just end? I think that you guys don't want to know what's on the inside. I'm just kidding, okay? So on the inside of this thing, for us real estate investors, we already know who we want to mail. We already know who we want to mail. We already know what this thing looks like. We went to Office Depot, Staples, Amazon to get these cards. Now, what's very, very important, okay, and we have tested this, okay? We absolutely have tested this, is whatever color the envelope is right here, the card on the inside should be the same exact color, okay? The same exact color. We have tested this. Now, we tested this where we'd have yellow, on the outside and purple on the inside. We just wanted to test what the difference was on that, and I'll tell you, every single time, the one that had the consistent color was the one that pulled the best. The one that had the consistent color is the one that pulled the best. Okay? So whatever reason, I don't know why, and it doesn't really even matter. Just take that nugget, take that trick that we gave you, and these pieces of paper inside, right? So I just opened up this envelope, right? These pieces of paper on the inside, this is just regular cardstock, right? This is just regular cardstock. There's nothing fancy, sexy, anything about this. It's just cardstock folded right in half, okay? That's all that it is. When the seller opens this up, they're going to open it up, and it's going to have a very, very simple message inside of this. Now, this is where investors they overdo it. If you guys haven't seen my past System Saturday that I just did, all about being, going as a branded investor versus going as an investor that is kind of like the millionaire next door, right? We never flaunt how much money we've got. We never, in these cards, right? We never flaunt how much money we got. We never tell them that we're from ABC Investment Company. We never do any of that stuff. You're going to kill your conversion rate. You're going to kill it. I've tested so much direct mail, sent out millions of pieces of direct mail, and I'll tell you, the best way to kill it is to go out there and make them do an amazing job on the letter, on the envelope, do an amazing job on the actual the look of this thing, and then you screw it up by telling him, hi, my name's John Cochran, and I'm with Buckeye Home Buyers. Now they know that you're in it for a profit. Why in the world do you think they're going to call you? They're not. Nobody wants to go out there and give their property away to anybody and just have their equity, just going out the door. They don't want any of that stuff, okay? So what I suggest and what we do is we go 100% unbranded. 100% unbranded. Now, what does that mean? Since we're not marketing as our investment company, right? That doesn't mean that we can't buy the property in our investment company name. We just got to get the phone call first. We got to get this seller to call us. How do we get them to go out there and do that? So you go unbranded. You go unbranded. You don't talk about, anything about your investment company, how many properties you bought into the past, how many properties you own on their street. You got to liquidate, $400,000 tomorrow. None of that stuff. None of that stuff. It will kill you. It will kill your conversions on this stuff. So we got the envelope. It's looking good. We've got this. It's looking good. We got the forever stamp on there. It's great. The message inside to the people that have 2 levels of motivation is very simple. I just recently drove by your property on 123 Main Street, right? And what we do is, if you can see this, right? We don't even put the 123 Main Street, right? We'll just put the street name. That's it. Okay? So I just recently drove by your property on Main Street and was wondering if you were interested in selling it. Call me at this phone number, your real name, right? Your name right there. Just call me at that number and your phone and your name and number. It's that simple, okay? Don't overthink this stuff, okay? Do not overthink this stuff, because you can really, really overdo this stuff. You can overthink this, and don't sign it, your name and your company name under there. Don't do any of that crap, because we're not going branded. Address it to them, right? Address it to them. In this case, it's Scott. I just recently drove by your property on Grimm Street and was wondering if you're interested in selling it. Name, number, done. Call me. It's that simple. It's that simple. Don't overthink this stuff. So many investors, they overthink this stuff. And, I've tested this inside and out. So here's where we go from here. Here's where we go from here. I want you to try this letter. I want you to try this letter, and I want to see the type of results that you get. Me and other investors that I've given this letter to, we get over a 12% response rate. Now, again, it's all in who we're mailing, though, too. Okay, because again, people that have 3 or more levels of motivation, what are we doing with them? What are we doing with them? We're going and putting a note on their door. That's very similar to this. That's very similar to this. People that have 2 levels of motivation, this is what we do. Right here. This is what we're doing, right? And then we're going to do as many deals as we can out of that. We're not going to overwhelm ourselves. Guys, this is not a business of overwhelm. This is a business that's all about, making sure that we go out there and we can, answer all of our calls live. We can have amazing follow-up with all of our sellers so that we can do deals. When you get overwhelmed and you got 100 leads or whatever come into your system, the truth of it is how are you or one person, and how are you going to go out there and handle 100 leads? How are you going to follow up with 100 leads? You're not. You're not. The business is all about follow-up and the way that you follow up with these guys. So you're not. So don't overwhelm yourself. So what I suggest that you do is, in your pipeline at all times, you want to have somewhere around, right? You want to have somewhere around, 15, 20 leads, active leads that you're working on. Make sure they're the right leads. That's why we do this extra targeting with the combo motivated sellers, because we know that we're getting in front of the right leads. Right? We're getting in front of these right leads. So that's really, really huge. It's really, really huge to have that. So just know that and understand that real quick. So guys, that's our direct mail. That's what we do on this stuff. Now, here's one other thing that I want to suggest. Here's one other thing that I want to suggest before I let you guys go, is who answers the phone? Who answers the phone? This is something that I get from investors throughout the entire country. Who answers the phone? And the truth of it is, who answers this phone? You do. Or your lead acquisition specialist does. But I'll tell you, so many investors, they'll be like, well, I got a day job or whatnot. I'm just going to send it to a virtual assistant, or I'm going to have a call center doing it. The death of a call center, the death of never getting a call from these guys is to have a call center do it. The truth of it is, guys, what is a call center designed to do? A call center is designed to take these calls from these people, gather their information, and then give it to you. Guess what? Guess what happens by that? When you go out there and do that, think about it from the motivated seller standpoint. When you go out there and you're just gathering their information, what are you telling them that you're doing? You're in this for a profit. You're in this to do business, right now. And that's not what you want. Guys, that's not what you want. Remember what I said. You're the millionaire next door. You're the millionaire next door, and you got to portray that throughout this whole process. That's how you get calls. And the first thing, if you can't get the call, how are you going to get the deal? You're not. You're not going to get it. If you never do it, you're not going to get the deal. So you got to do that. You got to go out there and do that. So what I suggest is this. Don't have a virtual assistant go in and answer that phone call. Don't have a call center go out there and answer that phone call, because if you do, it's really going to hurt you. It's really going to hurt you because they're there to do one thing. Capture their information. And you know what your job is to do on that very first call? When these motivated sellers call, you know what your job is? To do nothing but gain rapport. That's it. Gain rapport with them. Schedule the appointment. Don't talk numbers or anything else, because if you did your targeting right, you know what? You've already got somebody that should be motivated to sell. You already got somebody that has equity into their property if you did your targeting right. So you don't need to talk price. You need to gain rapport with this person. That's it. The person that gains rapport and the person that builds a relationship is by far the person that gets that deal. When you care about the sellers, is exactly the day your life is going to change. When you realize that that's the business that you're in, caring about sellers and getting them out of their situations, that's when you're going to see your profits go up. So one thing, if you got another job, or if you're not able to answer the phone calls or whatever it is, you know what? You know what you should do? Let it go to voicemail. Let it go to voicemail and promptly get back to these people within in the next hour or two. And then by far, you will start to see that you will start getting a very, very higher response rate. You already got the right people because you're targeting the right people. Now you just got to get them to respond, to you. It's that simple. So, guys, I wanted to go onto this live, and I wanted to give you guys some serious nuggets. So here's all I ask. Here's all I ask. Number one, speed of implementation. If you guys don't go out there and implement this stuff, how are you ever going to do deals? How are you ever going to go out there and do deals? The person that will implement the fastest is by far the person that's going to get the fastest results. If you never go out and implement, you're never going to see results. If you want your life to change today, you got to change. You got to make an adjustment. You got to be the one that go out there and does it. Not me. Not me. I can't do it. I can give you the system. I can share with you how to do it, but now it's in your hands. Now it's in your hands. So I can't figure out how this comment stuff is working on this. I see how I can write a comment, but I can't see how anything else on this thing. So I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. But here's what we got to do from here. It's time that you implement. It's time that you implement. So if you got value from this video, go ahead and leave a comment. I want to read them. I can't see them right now, but I want to read these things. I want to read what your comments is if you got value from this, okay? Because that's the only reason why I do this. I want to make sure that you get value. So go ahead and leave a comment. Like us. Go ahead and like this page. I'm going to drop a lot more secrets like this. And give us a review. Give us a review on this. We've got a lot of 5-star reviews, dominant 5-star reviews. Go ahead and give us a review. But bottom line, you got to get these things out. You got to get these things out, because this right here, it's money. It's not all about going out there and sending out 30,000 of these things. It's all about getting to the right people, getting the right message in front of the right people, and that's how you do deals. Guys, I'll see you on the next Facebook Live. See you guys.